See, I got me an idea, and I'ma put it to work, and I'ma gauge my progress by the sign of the word. Now I ain't yet a success, but yes, the word that I stress, cause by the time you hear the CD, count the steps that I've left. I'm passing all of your rappers, it's just a matter of time.
We ain't going nowhere, cause we can't be stopped now. It's watch me make it happen for life. You already know what it is. This is Pablo Rivera, and this is another edition of Make It Happen Monday. Yo, so check this out. I'm amped up. I'm amped up like crazy. It's the 204th day of the year, right? We got 162 days left. You know what I'm saying? And so we passed the halfway mark, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to take this opportunity to talk to you about the halfway mark, even though we're already up to almost up to the 3/4 mark. You know what I mean? That third quarter, approaching that fourth quarter. I apologize. So check this out. Did you do the self-inventory, right? We talked about this at the end of the first quarter. You know what I'm saying? So did you do your self-inventory? Did you look at the things that you're supposed to be doing, right? Do them, right? And then see what happened. Or did you recognize that you didn't do them and then document that, whether it's mentally, literally on paper, something like that, right? So then you can see what it is that you didn't do and why you didn't do it, right? This is self-inventory. What is it? What was the environment? What was your mindset like? What are all these things, right? We talked about it before. Again, you can go ahead and look back. It's literally called self-inventory. You know what I'm saying? In season 1. So I'm talking to people, and it seems like I'm getting like this general consensus, right? A general consensus of like, I can't do this. I don't know. I was supposed to do this and I didn't, but no excuses. You know what I'm saying? I talked about all this stuff before, right? I know I'm supposed to wake up, but I had to do this. Or I know I'm supposed to do that, but I had to do that. I got a serious question for you. Like, do you really want it? Like, I know y'all like, yo, Pablo, I'm checking out the videos. I'm doing stuff, right? I'm perpetuating positivity. I'm doing nice things to other people. And I ain't saying to stop that, right? But the main thing of this entire thing that we doing, right, is about watch me make it happen and perpetuate positivity, right? So yes, if you perpetuate positivity and you helping people out in the world, that's what's up, because really, that's the end of it. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to look out for y'all who actually have goals, who are in a place in your life right now that isn't necessarily the place you want to be in, right? So you're trying to move, you know what I mean? And I don't care if that's a job. I don't care if that's a health and fitness goal. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's school. I don't care if it's a family life, being a husband, being a father, whatever it is, or a whole bunch of all of them put together, right? But I'm being serious when I'm asking you, do you really want it? I don't know if you really want it, right? Because whenever you get in a jacked up situation, it's not like it just happened. Like you all of a sudden in a jacked up situation, right? Is that there has been things that happen incrementally that got you there. Now listen, I understand. Let me put a caveat on there, right? Sometimes people just car accident and die, right? Whatever it is, sometimes people get some sort of an accident, something that literally did just fall on your lap. You know what I'm saying? And I get that, but like we got to be real serious about when we're doing that inventory, because a lot of times people be sitting there like, oh, well, had to take my dog for a walk. That just happened. No, it didn't. You knew you were supposed to take your dog for a walk before, or you knew the dog was supposed to be walked. Maybe the person who's normally walks it, maybe they called in or whatever, right? But we need to be able to adjust fire. You know what I'm saying? We got to be able to recognize what it is that we're supposed to be doing and what it is that is actually happening, and then adjust fire so that we can make those two congruent, right? We can make them meet up, right? Check this out. There was this quote that I heard. It goes like this, and I apologize because I don't even know who said it, so I apologize, right? But I'm saying I heard this quote, and it says, your attachment to the past is affecting your discernment on the present. Yo, check that out. Your attachment, right? That means that you're holding on to it, right? Your attachment to what? To the past, right? Things that have already happened, right? It could be good, it could be bad, it could be indifferent, whatever. But you holding on to something that happened in the past for whatever reason, right? So check it. Your attachment to what? The past. Your attachment to the past is affecting. So what's happening? It's doing something to what? To your discernment. What does discernment mean? Well, you know what? I needed to go ahead and look that up. So I'm going to tell you what discernment means. Discernment, by definition, is your ability to judge well, right? Well, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about self-inventories, your judgment on what it is that you did, your past actions. You know what I'm saying? But don't let your attachment to those past actions, don't let your attachment to those past outcomes, don't let your attachment to whatever, right? affect your discernment. So what am I talking about when I'm talking about discernment? I'm talking about your ability to judge well, right? So now you end up getting in a situation where you're like, man, I just can't lose this weight. I can't jog. I can't study for more than 15 minutes. I can't pass the test. I can't communicate my intentions well enough to be able to get this promotion. I can't, express my feelings the way I want to my wife, and she just ain't feeling it. I don't know how to connect with my son or my daughter or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? Like all of these difficulties that you may have, you got to really be able to judge them, right? And then judge what it is that you are doing or what it is that you have done and be able to look at that. That's discernment, right? To be able to understand. And that's one part of discernment, right? That's the judgment of your actions and your tasks. But then there's another type of discernment, right? And that's how you feel about things. How is it that, or what is it that this means, right? You know, if your wife is walking around all day and you ain't doing nothing, you got to find out what that was, right? You know what I'm saying? You got to dig deep. You got to look at it and discern. You got to figure out what it means, right? An example for me, right, is that I'll be praying, right? And I found myself praying for this, for that, for the other thing, you know what I mean? Like specific things, right? I'm going into this example because I don't think I did a good job at explaining discernment and how it applies to this, right? But I'll be praying, right? And I'll pray, I'll make something up. I pray that I grow to be 7'5", right? You know what I'm saying? I'm 5'9", bro. So I'm good. But for the illustration, right? Oh, God, please make me 7'9", right? But then I noticed that I was asking for a lot of things. You know what I mean? And I know there's other Bible verses that say you should ask specifically for what you want and all this other stuff, right? But at the time of my life, I was sitting here and I was asking God for specific things, like specific things that I thought I wanted, specific things that I was like, oh, I need that, or I want that, you know, that type of thing. And then I realized, like, hold up, how am I sitting here telling God, this is what you need to do for me? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, this ain't right. So again, parallel analogy, right? I started looking at my kids, right? And they be asking me, I want this. Oh, no, I want this. How about we just go do this? And I'm like, yo, how is it that you asking me for something? And that's cool, right? But I know what's best for you. You know what I mean? I happen to know that it's raining outside and I heard thunder. So no, you can't go in the pool. You know what I mean? But they like, oh, but it's wet water, wet rain. And I understand that, right? But there's a little bit more that I understand that they don't. And I can sit there and explain it to them and all that stuff. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm the one who understands why they can't do it. And whether I explain well or I don't explain well, or it's one of them times where I don't explain at all and you just got to do it because Poppy said. You know what I'm saying? So those last times with God and me, those are the times that I'm talking about. Is that when I ask God for something and he don't give it to me, or he gives me something else and I don't get an explanation, it's just like, hey, I'm God. That's why. You know what I'm saying? And I used to be like, well, is it that he ain't answering my prayers? Is it that I'm praying wrong? Am I in a bad place and he ain't trying to hook a brother up? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. So I said, you know what? Who am I to be asking for that? So what I started to do was I started to add like a little, I guess I use caveat a lot, right? So I added a little caveat at the end. Is I was like, God, please make me 7'9" or whatever I said. I can't remember. Please make me 7 foot, whatever, right? And if you don't, please give me the understanding as to why that wasn't the right thing for me or why I shouldn't or whatever it was, right? Give me that discernment. Please, God, give me the blessing of discernment so that I can understand why what it is that I was asking for ain't right for me at that time, right? It ain't right for me at that time. So your attachment to the past is affecting your discernment for the present, right? So you are sitting here and you're used to being skinny. You know what I'm saying? You're used to being on the honor roll or the dean's list or whatever. You're used to winning your tournaments. You're used to doing whatever, right? And now all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you're not. You're used to being this skinny, whatever model, you know what I mean? And now it ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason. You're used to being the life of the party, and now all of a sudden, that ain't the case. You're used to, you enter it, whatever it is, after you're used to, right? And then now it's not, right? So this is why self-inventories are so important. This is why discernment is so important, right? Is that you sitting there and you wondering why isn't it? It didn't just happen in the first place. Now, you may have been, you know what I'm saying, healthier looking when you were younger because our metabolisms and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But if you was a fit adult, young adult, you were doing things for that. You know what I'm saying? And then as it started to go away from you, you know what I mean? Because everything's changing, our biology's changing, blah, blah, blah. It might not be something specifically that you ain't doing. It's just that your body is metamorphosizing into an older you, right? But you need to make those adjustments. It ain't like you go to bed at 18 years old, fit, captain of the football team, or wrestling team, or jiu-jitsu champion, whatever, and all of a sudden you wake up at 18 in one day and you're, sitting there, can't get out, and everything's all jacked up. That ain't the case. It's not like you're going to be on the honor roll for years and years and years, or even once, and then all of a sudden just drop off and everything stayed the same. Something changed. And what we need to be able to do is have that understanding, that ability to judge well and understand and recognize what it is that is happening at the very beginning. When did it start to come off track? And what did you do to put it back on track? Or did you do nothing? Right? This is where those self-inventories are. And I seriously got to ask you, do you really want it? Do you really want it? You ain't going to get there if you don't really want it, because every excuse that comes, you're going to be able to be like, yep, that's the reason why. But know that they're excuses. They're not reasons. And you can sit there and be witty about it and be like, well, nah, these are my reasons, Pablo, and that's the reason why. Okay, then you don't want it. Then you don't want it, right? You got to create this vision. If you don't have a vision for what it is that you're doing, you're not, every task that goes towards that non-vision is going to feel perfunctory. You like that word? That means that you just check in a box, right? You can send my quarters later, right? Now I'm only messing around. But it's gonna be a checkbox type of thing. That's why visions are so important. You got to be able to see what it is that you want and see yourself getting there. Because then everything that you do, example, I'm outside making sure I'm cutting down trees, bushes, shrubs, all that stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to make it just a big, gigantic backyard that my kids can play in, right? But I got a vision. I can already see what it's gonna be in a couple years. You know what I'm saying? And so every time I go out there, if I pick up a twig, I don't care if it's a 1-inch twig. If I pick up a twig and I get it where it's supposed to go, or burn it or throw it away or recycle it or whatever, I feel great because I know that that is getting me closer to my vision, right? Now, listen, I'm telling you, if you ain't got a vision yet, we already talked about that. If you are a vision board creator, then go ahead and do that. But if not, at least really spend time thinking of your vision, right? I'll be telling you, I wake up at 4 a.m. I don't wake up at 4 a.m. just to say I'm up at 4 a.m. Sometimes I get up at 5. But I'm saying, though, I don't get up that early just so I can say I did it. What I'm doing is I'm gathering my thoughts, right? I pray to God, I walk, all these things. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get my mind right. I want to get my discernment on point. I want to get my judgment in check, right? Because I have a vision, and I'm inviting you all, please get a vision, write it down, right? Because if not, I'm telling you, you really don't want it. You got to be able to see what it is that you want. If you don't see it, you don't want it. If you're sitting there and just letting the wind push you wherever you're going to go, yeah, you're going to have opportunities, but they're going to be opportunities that are given to you, not opportunities that you create. I also heard one time that happy and successful people have options. If you don't have any options, you need to be able to do whatever it is you need to do to give yourself some more options. You see what I'm saying? Vision. You need to really think about it if what you say that you want is what you actually want. You need to make small changes. Listen, if you've been rocking with me, you already been making them small changes, right? Those small, imperceptible changes. You know what I'm saying? Because eventually, those small, imperceptible changes are going to add up to be at least one large change. You see what I'm saying? And that's the same way they've been encroaching upon you in the first place. Who's they? They is your inability to reach your goal. Whatever it is, right? They, those excuses, they, those people, they, those bad thoughts, they, that bad environment, whatever the they is, that's what they've been doing. They've been inching in little by little, and you just been good with it, right? You know, that one day that you oversleep and you're like, all right, cool, you know what I'm saying? No big deals, one day. That's an encroachment. The enemy has moved in, right? And that's what's always going to happen. It's going to be these small, imperceptible, you know what I mean? They move in a little bit and you're all right with it. You may feel a little uncomfortable, but why is that? Why'd that person move up on me, right? And now all of a sudden they stop. The encroachment ceases. They don't retreat though. They don't move back, but they don't move forward until you get comfortable with that. And once you get comfortable with that, you know, once you only had that one day that you woke up late, once you got that one test that you ain't studied for and you got a little bit lower than normal, but you still did all right, right? That's a small encroachment. That's what I'm talking about the self-inventory. That's what I'm talking about, discernment. That's what I'm talking about, the ability to judge well. Is once you do that one thing, that's an encroachment. And once you get comfortable with that, guess what? They moving in even more. And then they moving in even more. I'm telling you, that's what it is. That's what it is. So, listen. Use your discernment, use that understanding, get back to those tasks, get back to those daily habits that you're doing, the good ones, right? Because you deserve it. You are worth it, all right? Because whether you know it or not, you are phenomenal. That's all I got, and that's my time, right? This is, once again, another edition of Make It Happen Mondays. I'm hoping that you wake up in the morning, you feel blessed, you feel ready to go, you feel energized, and if not, you check out these videos, and I'm hoping that it's going to reinvigorate you, right? We need to get back on track. Do you really want it? Do you really want it? I believe you do. Now show yourself. Show me, but show yourself, right? You know what I'm saying? Until next time. Oh, wait a minute. Special announcement. Right? Everybody always talking about, yo, we need to do something. We need to do something. They see my Watch Me Make It Happen shirts on. I should have wore one, right? But keep your eyes peeled. Throughout this week, I'm about to post a couple things here about the Watch Me Make It Happen brand, right? We're trying to make this a little bit more professional and all that. Everybody's pushing me in one direction, say, yo, you should do it, you should do it. And we planning some things, right? So keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to show y'all a little something this week, and we're gonna go from there. So that's about it. Like I said, that's my time. Once again, my name is Pablo Rivera, and this is Watch Me Make It
When I'm in motion, I'm focused, thoroughly thought of my plans and the execution. You notice, ain't no time to think about it, only time to react. Your intuition under pressure, weigh you down on your back. I scribble thoughts in my palm, I sing it when I get home. Organize my inner visions while I'm chilling and calm. A politician's mind state, that means I'm nice on my speech. Plus I peek the government.